An EP accuses a taxi driver of being the reason why his precious adult child passed out drunk and missed her curfew. This is a situation my father had in 2013. He was a taxi driver for years, and after this happened, he immediately quit and became a truck driver. It was Saturday night. It was well past midnight, so already Sunday, around 3 a.m. My dad had just driven one person home, when the dispatcher called him. 3:03 a.m. my dad receives the destination and fare. Disco club, redacted, 2 women, one of them Anna. 3:08 a.m. my dad's at the entrance to, redacted. 3:12 a.m. 2 girls enter my dad's car, one of them Anna. Around 25 years old, both, and also, both drunk as hell. Anna gives 2 addresses to my dad, first her apartment building, then her friend's house. 3:20 a.m. the car is at the first address. The other girl says that she has money to pay the full fare, so Anna leaves the car. She's very drunk and insecure on her feet. There's no light at the entrance to Anna's apartment building. My dad uses the headlamps of his car to shed light at the entrance to Anna's building, so that she can find the keys, open the door and so on. This is a common practice among taxi drivers. Always make sure that a woman arrives at the destination safe and sound. 3:25 a.m. the car leaves the first address and heads for the second. 3:32 a.m. the car arrives at the second address. In the meantime, the second girl passed out. If there wasn't for this first stop, the total time to drive from, redacted, to the second address would be less than 10 minutes, BTW, and it's relevant for the later events. 3:33 a.m. my dad leaves his car, locks all the doors and enters the courtyard. This is also a standard procedure. If your fare is unconscious, and even more so if the fare is a woman, do not touch her. If you are at her destination, call someone from there to pick her up and pay for the fare. If there's no one at the destination to help you with her, call the ambulance or police. So, my dad knew that it was Saturday night, that they were at a disco and had a lot of drinks, and he had no reason to call the emergency, at least not before he tries to get help from a family member. 3:34 a.m. he rings at the house doors. 3:36 a.m. the girl's father opens the door. Cast. EP, entitled parent. MD, my dad. EP, who are you and what the hell are you doing here at this hour? MD, I'm sorry to wake you up, sir, but I'm a taxi driver and I've just driven your daughter home. EP, my daughter? Where is she? MD, she's in the car, passed out. Please bring her in and put her to sleep. She'll be sober in a few hours. EP, but she's more than 1 hour late. She should have been here around 2. MD, sir, I received the call from the disco club at around 3 a.m., dropped her friend off along the way, and here I am now, with your daughter passed out in my car. Please come to the car to take her in and to her bed. EP, what did you do to her? Still standing at the doorstep and accusing. MD, nothing, I drove her here, home, to you. I'm a taxi driver, that's what I do. EP, but my daughter doesn't drink much. She would never allow herself to be so drunk as to pass out in a stranger's car. MD, sir, she and her friend were already drunk when they entered my car at redacted. And I'm not a stranger, I am a taxi driver. EP, she must have been given something? MD, sir, I don't know anything about it. I received the call around 3 o'clock to pick up your daughter and her friend at redacted. You should ask your daughter about it in the morning when she sobers up. Please come and take your daughter out of my car and settle the fare. Tomorrow you can speak to her and her friend, who'd confirm everything I said. EP, she called me around 1:30 and she didn't sound drunk at all. She told me she'd be home by 2, and 2 hours later, she's unconscious on your back seat? MD, I received the call from redacted only at around 3 a.m., sir. You can ask your daughter tomorrow when she wakes up what happened at redacted between 2 and 3 a.m. But right now, you should bring her in. I'm not allowed to have any physical contact with my fare and she can't get out of the car by herself. EP, you're obviously lying, because you're telling me you needed a half an hour to get here from redacted? MD, what? I never said that. EP, yes, you did. You said you picked up my daughter and Anna at 3 a.m., and now it's past 3:30? MD, I received a call from redacted after 3 a.m. and picked them up at 3:10 or later. And I also dropped Anna off at her address along the way here. Sir, my car has a GPS tracker and you can check my locations at any given time during my shift. You can call my dispatcher and ask her for the timestamps. She'll send it to you first thing after I've made sure my fare has safely arrived at her destination? EP, no, she hasn't safely arrived at the destination. She's unconscious on your back seat. MD, because she had too many a drink, sir, before she entered my vehicle. That is not my fault or responsibility. I would have helped her out myself if I could, but I am not allowed to touch my fare. EP, as I said, my daughter would never have too many a drink by herself. I want to know what was given to her. MD, then bring your daughter in and to bed, and in a few hours when she sobers up, ask her what happened at Redacted or in my car. Ask Anna and my dispatcher as well. But right now I need your daughter out of my vehicle, before she throws up or something. EP, I'm not going to contaminate a possible crime scene. MD, sir, there's no crime scene in my cab, only your daughter who needs help to get out of the vehicle and into her bed. She'll be fine after some sleep. She's not the first fare to pass out in my cab during the ride home. It happens, and it's not a big deal. The important thing is that she's home safe and that you can check the last 30 minutes of my shift if you want, with no problem whatsoever. Now please, help your daughter out of my car. EP, I'm calling the police, sir, you know? MD, please do. 10 minutes later, there were 2 policemen at the door. In the meantime, the lovely daughter on the back seat of the cab made a huge mess all over the place. She emptied her bladder on the seat and threw up on the floor and back seat and all over herself. The policeman called my dad's dispatcher and in less than 1 minute established that my dad was totally innocent and that he did the right thing by asking the fare's father to help him with the passed out woman. They told the father to bring the daughter in and then told him to leave my dad alone. The man was furious, but had to do what they told him. However, the story didn't end there. 2 days later, my dad's boss received the call from the EP. The boss already knew what happened that night. EP, I demand the fare I had to pay refunded, as I'm going to press charges against your driver. Boss, on what account, sir? EP, for molesting my daughter. I've already spoken to my lawyer. Boss, feel free to do that, sir. I hope your lawyer informed you of the fact that we have timestamps for the vehicle in question and that the entire case can fire back on you hard, sir. EP, my daughter doesn't even remember that they called a taxi and that she ever entered your car. Boss, your daughter's loss of memory is irrelevant, sir, as the video surveillance at the entrance to Redacted confirmed that your daughter willingly entered the vehicle with her friend at 3:12 a.m. on Sunday. And I'm sure you already know that your daughter's friend herself called our dispatcher from her mobile phone. EP, my lawyer told me that your drivers are responsible for their fares and their well-being while they're in your cars. Boss, exactly, and the only thing my driver did wrong was ringing at your door, instead of calling the police immediately. He didn't want your daughter to spend a night in prison to sober up and wanted to avoid an embarrassing situation for her, so he made a mistake and asked you to help your daughter out of the car. EP, I'm going to sue your asses for this. Boss, be my guest, as I already said. And for the record, we're not going to refund the fare. We'll send you a fat invoice for the car cleaning services, and for the 24-hour loss of our vehicle and fares we lost thereby. Indeed, it happened as announced by both parties. The EP sued the company and lost epically. The company won and the invoice at the end of the story was even fatter, and now included legal costs and all possible fines the judge could add to it, to teach the EP an important lesson about responsibility and false accusations and disrespect. My dad decided to become a truck driver, as truck drivers never have to deal with drunk fares or entitled parents. I got pepper sprayed. This happened a while ago and I'm still trying to wrap my head around what happened. Put your seatbelts on, you're in for a ride. I'm a 16-year-old, who since lockdown has been very lazy. I live near some bush with a path that runs along a river. Very nice area and is very popular. I had been eating a lot of lollies and cake, so I decided to get my fat ass up and to go for a run. It was like midday, and it was hot, so running was really hard and I was sweating like a pig. I have this thing where if I go for a run when it's hot I tend to vomit, not seriously but just little pukes as I run. Today, especially after eating so much crap, I was feeling extra sick. As I ran I could feel a sick sensation in my stomach and I knew I was going to puke. As I'm not a dick, I went a little of the track to puke in a bush. This is when EP, entitled parent, comes with a small dog and a young kid. This is a summary of the encounter. Excuse me, young man. She looked like one of those women from those witch movies, and she was scary. What the hell are you doing? I said, oh sorry, I just needed to vomit, no need to worry. It's really hot and this happens when I get too hot. I thought this woman had a heart and was seeing if I was okay. Boy was I wrong. EP, you know this is a public area, maybe you should hold it in. That is disgusting and I don't want my kids seeing you puke. Please hold it in so the public doesn't see you disgusting pig. I was kinda pissed off at this point. I'm sorry, I can't hold it in, I'm off the track and I'm not hurting anyone so please leave me alone. EPFU, you kids are so disrespectful. I don't want to see you vomit, I'm going call the police as you are disturbing the public. Please stop. You can just walk past, please just leave me alone. At this point I was angry, scared and I just wanted to go. I still felt sick and I knew I was going to vomit any second but I really didn't want this lady to call the police on me. I started to walk past her when she grabbed me. You stay and wait for the police. She started to call the police. I needed to vomit so bad, I tried to move away from this crazy lazy lady. She grabbed me by my hair. I have longish hair for a guy. At this point I was like stuff it so vomited all over the ground, some getting on her dog and her the poor kid, who at this point was sitting and playing with some flowers. The lady screamed. The dog didn't mind and was licking the vomit and the kid just sat there, oblivious to the whole situation. The lady, still screaming, pulled out her self-defense pepper spray and sprayed me in the eyes with it. The pain was unbearable and I collapsed crying and clutching my eyes. A saint of a man who was walking by saw me crying and this lady with pepper spray, and immediately put two and two together, running over to grab the pepper spray, and make this lady lie down while checking me to see if I was okay. I didn't see or really remember what happened next but the police was called and this lady was arrested. The bystander stayed with me the whole time and even went to the hospital with me. My parents were away. The aftermath. The EP got arrested and got jail time. The EP husband, a super nice bloke, came to my house to personally apologize and got me a game for my Xbox as an apology gift. The bystander's family and my family became pretty good friends, and I became very good friend with his daughter who was my age. We are dating now. I didn't have serious damage to my eyes but I need glasses for reading now, which sucks. The whole ordeal was so weird but I did make new friends out of it so I don't know if it was that bad. Anyway, sorry about the weird writing style but I had to tell the world about me random EP story. Smiley face. Entitled parent tries to pass baby over a fence. I used to work at a very posh daycare as a classroom assistant. One Friday, Mrs. Teddybear had to meet with a parent about their son. I watched her, toddler, room for the last half hour. This meant the wee ones were sent outside to play, after getting diaper changes. I was just supposed to watch the kids and check them out when parents came. I was not allowed to take the kids inside unless one was hurt or the weather turned bad. Once their parents arrived, I could not change their clothes, change their diapers, etc. The parents were solely responsible for the child. Shortly after we went outside, Mrs. Fancy Pants picked up her child, Blueberry. She checked Blueberry's diaper and left. Blueberry was clean when she left, but took a massive dump when she got into the car. I could see Mrs. Fancy Pants in her car through the playground gate. She sat there for a good 10 minutes scrolling on her phone. Then she must have smelled the blueberry pie, because she got out of the car. She checked on Blueberry, made a loud noise, and came over to the gate. I need you to change Blueberry. I told Mrs. Fancy Pants that I could not do that. It is against policy. Mrs. Fancy Pants said, I am paying good money for my kid to be clean when I pick her up. I tell her, she was clean. Mrs. Fancy Pants takes Blueberry out of her car seat and tries to hand her over the fence. Which doesn't work because the fence is 6 feet high and she is short. She tells me to take the kid. I tell her I am not going to do that. She knows the policy. If she wants a diaper I can pass her one from my bag, but that is it. I can't change her kid. Mrs. Fancy Pants tells me to take her, in a heated tone. When I say, again, no, she marches towards the front of the building. She is holding Blueberry out in front of her like a bomb. She then storms out a few minutes later, pissed as can be. She puts Blueberry back in her seat, and turns to look at me through the gate. You should be ashamed of yourself. Really? Ashamed? Like it's not that hard. I wanted to ask why she didn't just do it herself if it's so easy. At this point I have parents picking up their kids, so I sign them out, clean up the playground, go inside, and leave for home. Mrs. Fancy Pants glared at me every time she saw me after that, refusing to say anything good about me. She also called me Dana, Danica, Daniel instead of Diana, even though she knew my name.